Hello, hello, hello. It is Gina here from Gina Dallison Coaching, and with my podcast, Healing Vibrations. Thank you for joining me again. Thank you for being here. So tonight I've got a very exciting program for us. So I've got an interview that's been pre-recorded with a lady, which I'm going to introduce you to and tell you a bit more about. But first of all, I just want to remind you of what Healing Vibrations is about and what I'm trying to achieve by it. So Healing Vibrations is about changing the perspective of illness, because illness is not something anybody wants, but it is something that a lot of us get. And if we were able to shift up our perspective and change the way we feel about having an illness, I think that could have a real big impact on what the prognosis is and how it develops within us. And what I mean by that is, by the time that we get ill, by the time the illness comes upon us and we have a diagnosis, there's been a lot of things being misaligned in our lives. So with a chronic illness such as MS, such as multiple sclerosis, that wasn't just one thing. That is a series of things that I've probably done over the course of my life that have misaligned, misbalanced me. So what I'm doing now is working on that process of rebalancing my life. And that balance can be in a myriad of different things, but a lot of things, anything that we actually have control over. And despite what I was told by my doctor, that, there was nothing really that I could do about it, there is masses that we can do about it. What goes into our body, what we put onto our body, how we talk to ourselves, how we treat ourselves, and what we do and how we are, where we live. Well, I've come up with 33 areas. And if anybody's interested in working out where they are in all the different areas that we do have control over, then message me and I'll send you a copy of my self-audit. So this is the area of this is 33 areas of your life that you do have control over. And the idea of a self-audit is that you can almost draw a line in the sand from where you are now. So the way the self-audit works is per area, there's a question to ask yourself. There's a scaling question. So you scale yourself from 0 to 10. And it'll give you some idea of what a 0 could be and what a 10 is. And you just score yourself where you are now. And that will give you awareness. And awareness is such a powerful thing, because when we've got awareness of what's actually going on in our lives right now, then we can start making some conscious choices whether to change them or not. And if you want to know more about the various different areas, I am going to be doing a focus each month on the area. So January is about decluttering. It's about our environment. And that came up because I've got a little paid program called Healing Vibrations. And I asked them what their challenge was right now. And it was clutter. And who hasn't got clutter? So we do a little bit of a focus on it. And focus doesn't mean going out all guns blazing and doing. It's about looking where we are right now, challenging our beliefs around where we are right now and where we could be going, focusing on what we actually want, and then taking teeny tiny steps towards doing it. And I must say, it certainly worked for me. I've purchased myself a new bookcase. So now I've got homes for my books. They're no longer cluttered in corners in my bedroom. So one purchase that cost me a tenner from Marketplace has now solved a bit of my decluttering problem. I've still got a little bit to go, but I definitely feel steps in the right direction. And next month, we're going to be focusing on nutrition. And nutrition is a massive piece, because what we put into our body, our fuel that keeps us going, has a massive impact on our health and well-being. And you may have already noticed that certain foods might trigger some symptoms or might make you feel bad. And depending how your diet is at the moment, there are areas that you can change quite quickly. So I have done a lot of experimenting around my diet. I originally, when I first started on the holistic journey, my spiritual journey of finding an answer to MS and how to rebalance my life, started with diet. And diet's an easy one because it's very tangible. You can make changes quite easily. You can take certain food groups out without too much trouble. And especially now, it's much easier to be vegan, or to take out dairy, or to take out meat, or to take out fats and sugars. I don't know, fats and sugars are still in quite a lot of things. But again, the awareness comes in, and you can start being aware of what food you're eating and how that actually makes you feel. And I have done a lot of experimenting with diets. I am by no means a diet expert. I rarely eat dairy these days. I eat a little bit of meat, not very much. I don't eat much in the way of gluten or grains. I've cut them out since doing the AIP. And if anybody's never come across the AIP, that's autoimmune protocol. And that's an elimination diet. And the idea of that is that you eliminate any food groups that could trigger inflammation. It's basically an anti-inflammatory diet, because inflammation causes a lot of the problems, not only with MS, but with a lot of other conditions as well. So by working out what foods trigger your inflammation could have a massive impact on your healing. And tonight I'm going to share with you a story of a lady called Alison Brown who did just that. So this lady got diagnosed with multiple sclerosis when she was just 23, and she had some really aggressive relapses. And she did have other symptoms, but her most debilitating and challenging symptoms were severe brain fog and severe fatigue. And I feel very blessed that I've never really suffered from any serious fatigue, but I have spoke to many people that have, and it is just it just wipes out your world. And the way Alison described it, she felt like she was a zombie. She was in her early 20s and she barely had energy to get out of bed. And I was speaking to a lady this morning with a primary progressive who struggles with when your legs don't work properly and your arms don't work properly. Even the simplest tasks like getting out of bed, like washing yourself, then becomes so much more onerous and so much more energy sapping. And if on top of that, you've then got severe fatigue as well, you know, life just becomes a drudge, really. So if there's any way that you can get rid of the fatigue, then it's definitely worthwhile. And changing your diet is so within your control. It is not necessarily easy. Anyone who's ever tried to lose weight will know that's not the case. But it is possible. And it's all the more possible if you've got a great guide and if you've got a community of people who are on a similar journey. And it's also possible if you get really clear on why you're doing it. So I would like to introduce Alison Brown, who still is living with MS, but now you will see she doesn't have any brain fog, she doesn't have any fatigue, and she has managed to do that through diet. So she is now sharing what she's learned with other people. So there's an opportunity to get on her program, which is starting, I think the end of the sign up is tomorrow. So if you're interested in really making a commitment to your diet and doing some clean eating and would like some support in doing that, then listen to what Alison's got to say and go and have a chat with her. But it's really interesting what she has to say anyway. She also gives some great hints for giving up sugar, because sugar is definitely one of those inflammatory foods. Okay, well, I am going to stop talking and share the interview with Alison. If I can, there we go. That we recorded, I think, at the beginning of the week, so it's fairly new. This is Alison Brown from EverHeal. Hey, this is Gina from Gina Dallison Coaching, and I'm really excited to be joined today by Alison Brown, who is the founder and owner of a company called EverHeal, which is an autoimmune wellness program. So, hi, Alison, welcome.
Hello.
And introduce yourself maybe in a little bit of a better way.
Oh, sure. Well, listen, as I say, I'm the owner of EverHeal, and I'm just about to release my new program, which is an autoimmune wellness program. It's a 90-day program that guides people through making sort of diet and lifestyle changes to improve their health. Background about myself. I was diagnosed with MS in 2005 when I was 23 years old, so I was just a little bubba.
Yeah.
And I was in the second year of my PhD in forensic analytical chemistry, of all things.
Wow.
Anyway,
wow. So you're in the right place almost.
Yeah, well, I was doing a lot of research, so that sort of taught me a lot of skills about research. But I had quite aggressive relapses in the first 3 years. I remember my neurologist actually said to me, if we don't work out how to settle down your relapses, you'll be in a wheelchair by the time you're 30. So obviously as a 23, sort of 24, 5-year-old, you're sort of like, oh my God, like I thought I'd had my whole life ahead of me. What do I do? Like, it's, so anyway, the stress of having that type of job, I heard that it was quite a stressful job, so I decided that I didn't really need that stress in my life. But I went and worked in corporate industries for different government organisations in sort of analytical sort of research roles, until I had to resign in 2018 due to crippling brain fog and fatigue that I just couldn't shake.
Oh, no.
It was, although it doesn't seem.
So were the brain fog and the fatigue, were they your most challenging symptoms, or were you struggling with something else as well?
Absolutely. I mean, throughout my sort of 20 or 30 odd relapses, however many it's been so far, I've had lots of different symptoms, but these ones were found to be the most challenging because it takes away who you are as a person. Like I remember like sitting on the couch and just staring into space like a zombie. And I remember thinking, this is as good as my life is ever going to get. This is my day. I like wake up, I can't do work, I'm exhausted, I have no energy, I can't think straight. Like I couldn't even work out what half of 8 was one day. Like 8 divided by 2.
Yeah.
I had to ask my husband. It felt like mortifying that, I've got my PhD, but I couldn't even work out that simple calculation. But, it's one of those things where it steals something from you. And I think in that sense, it's been my most challenging symptoms. As I say, it meant that I had to resign from my job and, life didn't look very good. And I just basically knew that I had to do something I had to make changes that I didn't have the energy to do. I didn't want to do. I just needed a magic pill that would fix me, but that didn't exist apparently.
Magic pill, there's no magic pill.
I know. So I knew that I had to try to make changes. So I started changing my diet, and I started sort of eating more of a paleo type diet, but it was hard. It was really, really hard. Trying to overcome 30 years of like sugar addiction. Listen, it was super hard. I remember in the first 2 weeks, like I was exhausted. I kept doing little like blog videos for myself just to try to keep myself on track, because I knew that if I could cheat and if I could weasel my way out of doing it, then I would, because I really didn't want to do it, to be honest. But I was like, oh, I better do it. So in this first 2 weeks, I just wanted to quit. It was exhausting. I wasn't feeling any better. I didn't have any more energy, nothing. And I remember somebody on a little forum just said to me, just please keep going. Like, I promise you, like, the results are coming. Just please keep going. And I was like, oh, okay. And it took 3 months. 3 months of actual dedication, and then all of a sudden my brain function came back. I had energy again.
Wow.
I felt like myself again. Like, as I say, like, it steals some part of you, and I was like, oh my God, like, I'm back. This is amazing. And that's when I started researching why that had happened, because all I did was change my diet, and it didn't make sense to me. Food was food. Didn't make sense.
Yeah.
So I really started researching that, and I just found incredible links between our nutrition and autoimmunity. It's just been amazing.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, you mentioned that you're a bit of a sugar monster. So was your diet pre that quite sort of bad? I guess, for want of a better word.
Listen, I grew up in a household where we would have McDonald's as a treat, as a family treat on Saturdays, and we'd watch one of our favorite family TV shows. We'd do that once a week. So that wasn't great. We did have meat and 3 veg was the main sort of meals that we would have. So that, that wasn't too bad.
Yeah, it wasn't horrific.
But I always had access to junk food. Like, I always had access to junk food. So my diet would have been sort of in the middle somewhere, not awful, but not great either. But I realized only after many, many years that I was addicted to sugar, and, every time I try to overcome it, like, it felt like an impossible feat that I would never be able to do. But finally I did do it. Took a lot of perseverance and dedication, but it can be done. I promise it can be done.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course now they hide sugar in so many things, don't they? Things that you don't think has got sugar in, have got sugar in, basically.
And I learned that I think if it's under something like 5% of the total ingredient percentage, it doesn't need to be shown up on the label. Wow. They don't even need to tell you it's in it, which is kind of amazing. That might be just in Australia, but regardless, yes, sugar is sort of put in everything as well.
It's sort of well hidden in things, and it is. There's something about sugar, isn't it, that like it's probably the worst. It's probably the worst drugs out there, really. Well, they reckon, don't they? Sugar's the new smoking type thing.
Absolutely, they think that sugar, or it's been said that sugar could be somewhere between 5 and 8 times more addictive than cocaine. Not that I know the difference. Like, I don't know
not that I've tried
to compare that. But still, like, that, it tells you that it's pretty potent. And, if you've ever sort of felt like you were stuck in that sugar addiction cycle, because it actually is a cycle, you know what that feels like, that drawing. It just feels like there's nothing that could switch your brain off right now. You need sugar right now. Like, there's just something that draws you to it all the time. And it is difficult to overcome because of that. But there are sort of ways and means that can sort of help with that process. So
I take it you cover that in your program. That's one of the things that you...
Yeah, we do look at that. And I think, like, one of it is obviously we eat a certain sort of regime of food. And we have a little community that we support each other, because I think that's so important.
Well, you just said without that person on the forum saying, keep going, you probably would have,
I would have quit. I would have quit, and I wouldn't be anywhere near where I am today. I probably would still be on the couch like a zombie, wondering what had happened to my life, honestly. So we do that. I've also got like a lot of worksheets and things that we can start, putting into practice ourselves, and sort of making us a little bit more self-aware about what our triggers are and how we can actually replace those triggers with some good daily habits that can actually make us feel amazing. So it's all a process. It doesn't happen overnight, but it's a 90-day program. So we work through each of these step by step along the way as well, which, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I think 90 days is that space. It's like it's 3 months, isn't it, pretty much? So so that gives you a good foundation then to move forward with. And then what happens after the 90 days? Do you have some sort of like what am I thinking? Some sort of when people get past when they're qualified, the qualification group or something like that, to help people continue with a good
Listen, habits. I haven't actually developed anything as yet. But I feel like there should be some sort of, Champions League that we create that has all of us in there that are thriving and are doing so well, because it really does make a difference when, you've got people that are in this and that it's changed their lives. Like that's what makes a difference. And that's what I love seeing and hearing people going through this sort of stuff that, I hit rock bottom, and now I'm like, probably I feel as good as I've ever felt.
You look amazing. You look you look healthy and vibrant, and
I feel that way, which is the most important thing. And as I say, just feeling like myself again. I can't put a price on that, because when it's stripped from you, that feels really low. Like you're trapped. You're a prisoner inside your own body.
Yeah. I mean, I feel so grateful that I've never, with my MS, I've never had the fatigue. But I've spoke to a lot of people, and I think, it's that's almost worse than pain. I think that and pain, I think, are probably the worst symptoms, because the mobility issues, it's like, well, we can help you. You can get a wheelchair. I know it's not great. Nobody wants to be in a wheelchair, but as I sit here now, I feel fantastic. I can't walk very well, but I feel good. So the fact that you've come up with something that has obviously helped you and is helping others, it's just incredible. And the fact that, because I talk quite a lot about the idea of illness being a gift, and how does that concept sit with you?
Yeah, I've done a lot of interviews and done sort of articles for newspapers and such. And one of the things I remember saying very early on, when I was still in my PhD, which I did finish, by the way, despite all the illness sort of stuff that I had going on, I did actually say that it's sort of a blessing in disguise, because I knew that there was something to this that was going to, I don't know, like MS doesn't define me as a person, but it's helped me define myself. Like it's helped me find who I really am and what I'm really passionate about, which is about helping other people to be able to live their best life as well. Because I know what rock bottom feels like, and nobody should have to suffer with that, honestly. And we don't have to. The answers are kind of sort of simple. Don't tell anyone. The answers are sort of simple. Yeah. They're a little bit difficult to stick to. Anybody that's tried to do a diet.
Yeah, that's especially right. To start with. That's why you've got that support in the first 90 days, because once you've got that and then you're seeing the results, I think that's it. Once you're feeling, hey, I'm feeling good now, why would you want to go back to feeling?
And that's exactly right. And that's my motivation for sticking to it, because I've never been able to stick to a diet. Like in my whole 40 years, I've never been able to stick to it. It's always just been, a little fad diet for a couple of weeks, and then I'll just go back to eating whatever I want. But I'll never go back. I'll just never go back, because I like who I am now and how I feel now, because it means that not only do I get to live my best life, but my family and friends get to experience the best version of me too. And, my husband, I don't have to have my husband coming home from work and going like, oh, how are you feeling? Like, are you okay? And then me just going, oh, like it's awful. And then him saying, well, what can I do to help? And there is nothing. Like at that point, I don't know. I just feel awful, and I don't miss that feeling, and I don't want people to have to deal with that either, because it's just awful. It's an awful place.
And actually something like diet, and you talk about some lifestyle tweaks as well in your program, and that diet and lifestyle is something that I talk massively about. Is it's all within our control.
Yes.
These are all things that are with our control, and that's empowering. That's because I don't know about you, but when I was diagnosed, I asked the question, what can I do to help myself? What can I eat something differently?
There is nothing.
Yeah. Which is very disempowering, and eventually, puts you into that place of, well, what's the point? Yeah, like you said, if this is right. Then, at 30, right. Jesus, that's doesn't make you look forward to the future very much, does it?
No, and obviously when you go to the neurologist and, they basically just go, here's medication that you're going to have to be on for the rest of your life.
Yeah, and that sort of messes you up in other areas as well, but don't worry about that at the moment. Yeah.
I know.
Side effects aren't too bad then. Yeah.
I know. And I was on disease modifying therapies for about 15 years. So yeah.
So you're not on them now?
No, I came off them a couple of years ago. I think when COVID hit, basically, I was at a point where I'd been doing the diet for several years, and I felt good. I felt like I'd healed my sort of gut issues, which is sort of that core center of all things that are not right with autoimmunity. So I sort of thought, well, I don't want to compromise my immune system anymore just because, COVID's around and I'm kind of scared, and I don't want to be on immunosuppressant drugs. So
it makes you really vulnerable then, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I risked it, but I knew that I was in a good health space, and now my neurologist, I see him once every year, and he's like, I don't know what to do with you. He's like, oh, so you sure you don't want to go on any drugs? I'm like, well, if I don't have to, then I won't. And he's like, yeah, I guess so. He doesn't know what to do with me. He doesn't know.
No, that's it.
But I don't mind. I don't mind having that sort of problem.
No, absolutely not. And well done. And you haven't had any negative impact about coming off the meds?
The only thing that I had was a bit of a flare-up when, 5 days after I got the first COVID jab. So my first vaccination of against COVID, which is a Pfizer jab. I got a flare-up about 5 days after, and then that disappeared, and been well ever since. So
good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I mean, this has been really helpful, and hopefully other people will find it helpful too. I wonder if maybe with regarding to the sugar thing, and you said, obviously you found that a real challenge. Is there any maybe little hint or tip you can tell our audience that would sort of help them on that journey a little bit? Sort of.
I mean, it's a big ask. But one of the things that really helped me was, one, getting the right mindset, so that when I get those cravings hitting, I can go, no, remember, I'm doing this because I want to be well. And so you sort of can try to, get your why in place. So it's such a big thing. The other thing to do that I did is I got rid of everything out of my house that had sugar in it. Because in those moments when you're like, oh, just maybe a little bit, and you go looking for it, if you can find it, you'll love it. You're going to eat it. You're going to eat it. So I made sure that I basically just got it all out of my house, so that if I needed to have it, then I would have to go to the shops and actually make effort. And when you've got no energy, you really can't be bothered doing that. So so that worked for me.
It's amazing how creative you can get. So
I remember pulling out the cooking chocolate and everything. I'm like, it's got to be something in here, like, you know, back in the day. Oh my God, yeah.
I was sticking a bit of honey. I used to put maple syrup in coffee. That was my little sweetener thing. So sort of, well, it's sort of a healthy, you know, it's a healthy sugar, which is a bit better than
that's
refined,
right. Which is it's much better. But when you're coming off, when you're trying to ban yourself from sugars, those healthier sugars are definitely like your next step down. So that is a good alternative. So honey, maple syrup, agave syrup, something like those things are definitely better for you.
But dates. I was eating a lot of dates.
Yes. And those can definitely help, or even just fruit. Definitely all these things make a big difference in the scheme of things. So definitely anything that you can do to just get yourself back in control, because once you're in control, you can choose. You can say, well, I'm going to have a little bit of sugar today, but I'm in control and I'm not going to fall back onto the cycle that I was on before. So it's about getting that control, getting into a place really empowering.
Yeah, it's good. So well, thank you so much for that. And you have got a bit, because you're starting this program, aren't you? You're starting a new bit. Well, the next 90-day program is coming up, so tell us about that. And you've got a special offer for our audience.
So we're starting on the 15th of January. So we've got our little group lined up already. We've got 4 spots left at a 50% discounted price. So the price is 997 Australian dollars. So for you guys in the UK, it'll be a little bit less, obviously. And that's access to the 90-day program. That's the online portal where you get daily videos, you get weekly coaching sessions, meal plans, information, worksheets, etc., lots of good stuff. And that offer will actually end on the 14th of January. So if you want to sign up at 50% off, get in before the 14th of January, and you can join us for the first intake of people on the 15th.
Wow. Yeah. So if you want to make 2022 a year to
a happier and healthier you in 2022. That's what I'm calling it.
Yes. I do like a little poem. I like that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you can use that.
Thank you. Yes. What's it? Happier
and healthier you in 2022. Yeah.
Very nice. And if people want to sign up, how do people get hold of you?
So they can come and find me on Facebook. So Alison Brown. So it's ALLYSON Brown, or they can have a look at joining my group, my Facebook group. So facebook.com/groups/autoimmune diet. There'll be links and everything through there, or on the EverHeal website, which is everheal.com.au.
Autoimmune diets. I'll just write that down, because that's I can share the link and everything. So thank you so much. And you're just a great advertisement for this stuff and how it works. And I would encourage everybody, especially if they're suffering from the brain fog and the fatigue symptoms, that actually you don't have to live with it. This doesn't have to be how life is for you. It's definitely able to change. And why wouldn't you? What's the worst that can happen? In 90 days you'll probably have lost a little bit of weight, you'll be a bit healthier, you'll feel a bit more vibrant, your sleep patterns are probably better, and what's so
it's all those terrible benefits that you just mentioned, all of those terrible things will happen in 90 days.
Well,
no, it's amazing.
And it will take a bit of effort, but then what happens then when you slay the dragon of sugar, if you like, or anything else that's like got you gripped for probably the best part of your life, is that, like you say, you can then make a choice. You're in that place where actually, and I've found that, because I've done similar programs to you, that actually now sugar is, I do dip in and out of it, but I did at one point go through a stage where I was literally eating a box of dates a day, which is not very but now I've got my medjool dates in there as my little treat that I pop into every now and again, and and it doesn't bother me. So
that's right.
It is possible. It is possible to shift up, and it's keeping that momentum going when things are tough. And that's when a program like yours comes into its own, because you've got the support of you've got the support of other people who are on a similar journey, And then you've also got all the material to help you, you know, find the quick wins when you haven't got much time, and how to prepare and how to set up your kitchens for success and all this sort of stuff, isn't it? So.
Yeah, it's just so great. I mean, I think it's a well-rounded sort of program that I think people will get a lot of benefit from. And, you know, people who did our 28-day pilot program a little while ago, as you mentioned, you know, they lost weight. I had a lady that was just like, I'm 2 weeks in and I've already lost 6 kilos and I feel better. My stomach's actually better. I'm less bloated. I've got energy again and my brain's not foggy. And it was just a switch that went off for her, that all of a sudden she was like, this is possible. This is my new life. And this is after a few weeks. And it depends on the level of damage that you might have personally. So sometimes, like it took me 90 days, and other people can be somewhere in the middle. But yeah, the results, they're just priceless, to be honest. Yeah.
Excellent. All right, well, I'm going to close off there, and I will share all the links for Alison's program in the link below. And if anybody needs to get hold of her, then let me know, and I can definitely connect the two of you. So thanks very much, Alison, and we'll look forward to hearing from you again and seeing how people are getting on in your program, because sounds
this is wonderful.
Just like the first proper incarnation of it, isn't it? So
thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you. See you later. So that was Alison Brown, and what an incredible person, and just how vibrant and how alive she is. And if anybody's out there thinking, oh, I could never do that, I could never give up sugar, I could never change my diet, you can. Anybody can. And particularly if you've got a bad diet at the moment, then making some, you know, this is like a low-hanging fruit. This can make a massive difference. I mean, you heard her say there, one of her clients in 2 weeks was feeling better, and it is possible. And if you start getting curious about where it could take you as well, you know, and we tend to have, as humans, food is a very we have emotional ties to food. You know, cookies remind us of grandma years and years ago when we were a little girl, or chocolate reminds us of getting together with our buddies and going up the shops. And so a lot of food, especially the sort of the sugar-rich food, probably has an emotional tie with it as well. So it's worth looking at what it is that you're really trying to what your body needs, what you need really, rather than maybe a chocolate biscuit or a piece of cake. That being said, there are some bits of cake that are really tasty, but I must say I'm finding now is I'm a lot more picky on what chocolate I'm eating. So the other day I had I ate a bit of a chocolate bar, a bit of a little cake thing that was in a little packet and really wasn't very nice. So it's those things that you think, yeah, if I'm going to eat something, if I'm going to have sugar intake, I'm going to make it like really nice and really tasty, and not beat myself up for eating it. And I've been in a place before, I was a yo-yo dieter back in my 20s, where I remember going down the shop and buying 3 4-finger Kit Kats and eating one after another, which wasn't my best time. So yeah, I was up and down with my diet when I was younger, and really it was, I'd like to say it was the MS that helped me get a level on it, but I think it was having kids, if I'm honest with you. Something definitely shifted in my mind when I stopped thinking about food as something that I was always battling against, but started thinking about it as something that was going to sustain me. And I wanted to be a good example to my kids. I wanted to feed them with this. I wanted to give them as a healthy start in life as possible. And then started thinking about myself in a little bit of a different way. If I was going to do that for my kids, why don't I do it for myself as well? So if you've ever struggled with the food thing or never really properly explored it, and especially if fatigue and brain fog are your symptoms, I would totally recommend that you go on a bit of a journey. Alison's program looks a fantastic program, to have that support at the beginning, to have a group of people that you can connect with that know what you're going through. You've got somebody to talk to if things get tough, and it is tough. It's not an easy thing to do. It's simple. We all sort of know what we should eat and shouldn't eat. But actually, when we're healing our guts and going for that anti-inflammatory thing, it's different. It's different from just a low-fat diet because you're trying to lose weight. The end goal is different. Therefore, we have to look a bit deeper. But that's the gift that we're given here, the gift to look within ourselves, to start looking inwards for answers. And food is such a good starting place because it's so tangible. If you are interested in just finding out a little bit more, then I'll contact Alison or contact myself. And make a commitment to yourself. And I know when I first read that Overcoming Multiple Sclerosis book by George Jelinek, and he suggested the low-fat plant-based diet, high in omega oils. And I remember reading that and feeling hope that actually there was something that I could do about it, that I could help myself. And that was such an empowering thing, because being told by a doctor that there's nothing that you can do is so disempowering. It really is. It just stops you from even trying. And I just want to let you know that, no matter what the doctors say, changing your diet can definitely help in so many things. And it is possible as well. And also an outcome that was sort of unexpected is that your tastes change. When I look at things to eat now, I'm no longer going for pie and chips as my preferred option. Mine would be a salad and maybe some lentils, although even the legumes can trigger inflammation on some people. I don't think they do on me too much. But it's interesting as you get into this journey and realize that certain food groups, things that you thought might be healthy. So you might think that you've got a really healthy diet at the moment. And if you're vegetarian, for example, you might be eating a lot of beans and lentils. But the legume family can cause inflammation as well, as can the nightshade family, particularly with people in MS, apparently. So that might be worth looking into as well. Certain food types can actually trigger, but even within that, there might be just the odd one food that actually triggers it. So if you're not going to do anything else, I would totally recommend you writing a food diary whereby you write down what you're eating each day and then note down whether you're feeling any symptoms, any flare-ups, anything where your body feels off. And then you can sort of learn to correlate, when I had that certain food, then 2 days later, I had a flare-up in, I couldn't get out of bed, or whatever it is. This awareness journey that your illness can give you is just so worth looking into, because it's an enlightenment. It is a spiritual journey. I think knowing self, that for me is spirituality. It is learning that actually we can be, do, or have anything that we want. We've just got to work out where we are currently where we want to be. And that's a big thing, actually, you know, seeing yourself in that future state. So if you can see yourself as that healthy being eating a diet that's perfect for your body, and your body actually feeling the benefit of that, what would you look like? How would you be? How would you act? And put yourself into that future space of super healthy you. How does that feel? When I do my work with law of attraction, and when I teach law of attraction, it's how you feel that really counts. So if you can put yourself in a place of feeling healthy, of feeling vibrant, of feeling strong, and keep putting yourself there as much as you possibly can, even if you're kidding yourself right now, even if you've got to use your imagination on overdrive, your body will catch up. Your mind will think that that's the truth. And it will attract all of that back into you, all of that healthy, all of that vibrancy, all of that strength. So I'm just going to end today. I was recommended, or I spoke to somebody who listened to it all the way through. So I just want to end with a bit of a meditation, because meditation is just such a powerful process. And sometimes we feel like I haven't really got time to meditate. And there's always something else that I could be doing. And if you're a busy person in a busy life with lots of things going on, there is always something else that you could be doing. But taking just a few minutes to connect in with yourself is probably the most worthwhile thing you're going to do all day. So today, I just want to take you through, we've got about 10 minutes. So I want to take you through a 5-minute meditation so you can connect with yourself. So if you're still with me, stay with me, take a seat. Don't do this if you're driving or operating machinery. But if you're not, take a nice big deep breath in. Close your eyes. Just connect in with your body. I'm going to do a very simple body scan. So with your eyes closed, I want you to place your focus and imagine a bright light, like a torchlight, bright and beautiful, healing. And it's shining on your head. And that light is simply your awareness. So as it shines on your head, notice how your hair is feeling on your scalp. Notice how your forehead is feeling. And as you bring your awareness to your forehead, you might notice how the skin on your forehead is relaxing. Then bring that beam of awareness down your face, your ears, down your nose, your mouth. And just notice how your mouth is. Is it open? Is it closed? Where is your tongue sitting? Bring your awareness down to your chin and your neck, then your shoulders. I always like to readjust my shoulders at this point because our shoulders and neck can hold quite a lot of tension. So just allow that tension to dissipate and go. Bring your awareness then down into your back, to your chest. Just allow your awareness to wander all over your torso. just bring a bit of gratitude and appreciation to your body. Because no matter what illness that we've got, or what pains and symptoms we might be suffering from, your heart is still beating. Your lungs are still pumping breath through your body. Your liver and kidneys are still getting rid of your waste. Your stomach is digesting all that food. It's just such an amazing piece of machinery, the human body. Just spend a moment to appreciate it. And what happens, we don't even have to think about it. We don't have to put anything in place for our body to work. Bring your awareness down to your seated area if you're sitting down. Just notice how the chair feels underneath you. Allow your thighs to relax, your knees, your calves. Bring your awareness down to your ankles and your feet. At the heel of the foot and the sole of your foot. Then bring your awareness to your big toe. And then in each toe, the second toe in, just notice how that feels. Your middle toe, the one next to your little one, then your little pinky toe. Being in this relaxed space helps your central nervous system. And by meditating and making it a daily practice, or if you can, more than a daily practice, you've seen it doesn't take long. That was, I don't know, about 4 minutes. You get practiced at it, you can do less than that, just a brief body scan. Or something else that you can do that really helps calm any stresses. And if you feel yourself getting anxious, this can really help with anxiety. It's a simple breathing exercise they call box breathing. So if you breathe in, big deep breath in for 4, so breathe in, then hold for 4, then breathe out for 4, then hold again for 4. Breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. No, I did that wrong. Sorry, I'm out of sync now. So in, hold, and just by doing 2 or 3 rounds of them can really, really calm what you're feeling. So if you're feeling anxious about anything, do 3, 4 rounds of box breathing. Because you're focusing on counting and focusing on your breath, it concentrates the mind as well. So you're not whirring around with whatever worries you and whatever's concerning you, and just allows you to get into your body. Because I don't know what causes many illnesses, but I know certainly what triggers a lot of them is stress. And We do live stressful lives. We are busy. We have got a lot to cope with in the outside world. So this is about looking inwards and nurturing that amazing body of yours. And we can do that in so many ways. And these Healing Vibrations podcasts, we're going to be talking about more of them. So I hope you've enjoyed thinking about the idea of becoming more aware, of becoming, as Alison said, a happier and healthier you in 2022. In being able to sort your mindset so actually you can make changes. And that takes some dedication, but it's not impossible. It's possible for everybody and anybody to make changes in their life. And once you start seeing the benefits, the changes become easier. Of course, they're hard to start with because we're used to doing the way that we do them. But start incorporating little by little, small little changes. And if one of those can be to develop a meditation practice, and even if that is just 2 minutes a day to start with, I promise you, you will start seeing benefits. You will start feeling benefits. You can feel better no matter what illness you've got. It is possible to make changes that will make you feel better. I can't promise any dramatic healings, but who knows what's possible when we start going on that inward journey. So if anything that I've said sounds of interest, get in touch. I've got my group, Managing MS Naturally. I'm available on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Instagram. Get in touch and have a chat. And trust that actually there is an answer to whatever illness challenge you're going through at the moment. And it is possible to definitely feel better. You can feel better no matter what is going on right now. That is totally within your control. Okay. So on that note, I'm going to close off. And thank you all very much for being here and listening. And yeah, I will see you again next week. I'm going to be at the slightly later time next week of 9 o'clock. So it'll be a 9 o'clock showing, and we're going to be talking, I think, more about the environment that we live in and how we can shift that up a bit. And I will be talking to Alison again in a few weeks' time to see how her program is going. And if you guys would like to be on her program and be one of those people that start feeling better and start feeling more energized and get rid of that brain fog so your life becomes yours again, then go talk to her or go talk to me, and I'll look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you all very much.